So over the last few years, I have undergone quite the spiritual transformation. Not only is my hair a little bit longer and I purchased a shirt with a whiter mandarin style collar, but I have also undergone a sort of cleansing process, and I decided that I needed to atone for my sins. Now, I would hate for my audience to think that the reason I haven't uploaded any videos in such a long time is due to the fact that I was no longer lonely, because let me assure you, nothing has changed on that front. I am still as lonely as I have ever been. But I did feel the urge to take a cold and hard look at myself and some of the videos that I have made in the past. Because the truth is that I was actually raised as a Roman Catholic and have always considered myself to be quite the spiritual fellow. And I did take my Catholicism quite seriously. I underwent all of the different sacraments. For instance, I did my first reconciliation at the age of 9, where I was led into a small dark room with a Catholic priest and was forced to tell him all of my deepest and darkest sins, which, as I recall at the time, was me confessing how I had thrown a bread loaf at my sister's face, leaving a gash on her cheek. And I also underwent confirmation at the age of 12, which is confirmation into the Catholic Church. It's basically just doing a deal with God and getting him to swap our places. But of course, being Catholic isn't really about following the rules. In many ways, it's actually about breaking the rules. I mean, one of my favorite Pope deaths is this one Pope who was caught in bed with another man's wife, and that's why he was killed. However, this does start to scratch the surface into my tainted soul, a soul that was originally tainted by the original sin of Roman Catholicism. I remember after my grandfather died, I was on the farm with my grandma, and she was walking with me, and she'd become quite a spiritual person. She was born into the Church of England. She wasn't a Catholic, she was an Anglican. And she looked into the distance over the eucalyptus trees as the sun was setting, and she warned me that this is the time of the day when the Roman Catholics come out and they do bad things to you. Now, she had obviously forgotten that I myself was a Roman Catholic, and I'm not sure how she was able to forget that given she was actually at my baptism, but it was quite clear that my grandmother during her many years on this planet had come to the realization that Catholics were sinful, that Catholics were dirty, that Catholics were Irish. And I do believe that this goes some way into explaining my slow, deep decline into spiritual depravity. For instance, as I embarked on my journey through adulthood, on multiple occasions I dated women from the pagan nation of Japan, an island nation famous for being governed by state Shinto, one of the most anti-Christian governments that you can possibly get. And my spiritual deprivation didn't stop there, because when I wasn't having wicked dalliances with women from former samurai families, I was also attending pagan Japanese Jesus festivals such as this one, in which the sacrilegious assertion was made that Jesus was actually not from Judea, but he was actually from Japan. He was a Japanese garlic farmer, and that all the miracles that he conducted were nothing but a form of ninja. And I willingly participated in this festival, and I joined a sort of Japanese cult for a few hours, and I worshipped at Shinto temples, and I basically did everything that you're not supposed to do as a good Catholic schoolboy. And then to add insult to injury, 1 week later I travelled to Mount Hodatsu in Japan's Ishikawa prefecture to visit the grave of Japanese Moses, because that's right, Moses also died in Japan. He flew from Egypt to Japan on a UFO thousands of years ago, and I danced on his grave, basically managing to insult Christianity, Judaism, and Shinto alike. And so when you really stop and have a look at my life and see some of the sacrilegious festivals that I've attended, the pagan women that I've dated, the communist dictatorships that I have visited multiple times, the Lithuanian Hill of Witches, which I once also traversed in my travels, and we start to get a clearer picture of this loneliest man standing before you, trying to atone for his past transgressions. Now, obviously, it's been very helpful to me that Japan has been a closed country for the last 2 years. They've basically gone back to the 16th, 17th century and closed the nation to all foreigners, unless you're on a guided tour, in which case they're not going to let you visit the grave of Jesus, or at least it's not very likely that they would. And to be honest, I am a little bit worried that if Japan opens its borders again and you're allowed to actually travel into the country without being part of a guided tour, I am worried that I am going to return to my filthy pagan ways. But I do believe that with this YouTube channel and the subscribers that I have gathered over the years, that together we are strong, and that with your continued support, I am going to remain a cleansed, reborn figure. So anyway, it's great to be making videos again. It's great to be reborn. It's great to be wearing a white shirt, and I hope to make more videos in the near future. I've been The Loneliest Man. Subscribe, and thanks for watching.